What's up, guys? It's your girl Stacey Cake, your host for What's Hot, and today I'm here to explain the ending and react to The Devil Wears Prada 2. So this was such a good film. I loved it, and I have so many things that I want to say, but I'm trying to work on being more focused and not going on rants. So that being said, if you like this type of content, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment, and let's get into it. There are a ton of familiar faces who have returned for the sequel, The Devil Wears Prada 2. This includes Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci, plus many more. So when we get brought up to date in The Devil Wears Prada 2, we see that Andy Sachs has been brought in as Runway's features editor, unbeknownst to Miranda Priestly. This all happens after a PR catastrophe is basically about to cost Miranda Priestly not only her promotion, but possibly her job. The company's chairman, Irv, is not happy, so they bring in Andy Sachs to kind of up the positivity about Runway, correct its public relations, shall we say, with some good feature articles. Emily, who was still at Runway when we ended The Devil Wears Prada 1, now no longer works at Runway and is doing big things at Dior and dating a billionaire, Benji Barnes. Let's get into how this all ties into the ending. Benji Barnes is the ex-husband of Sasha Barnes, a rich public figure Andy secured an interview with to help restore the reputation of Runway. Miranda interviews Sasha, and it's a widely celebrated hit in the industry and amongst Runway fans. And it builds a bond between Sasha, Miranda, and Andy. Runway's parent company chairman, Irv, is ecstatic and once again is planning to promote Miranda. However, Irv unexpectedly dies at his birthday party right before he announces Miranda Priestly's promotion. His son, Jay, who you may recognize from The Office as Ryan, takes over and begins making major cuts to Runway that will eventually lead to a lot of people being laid off. Andy, in a panic because she was just laid off from her last job before returning to Runway, turns to her old coworker Emily for help while they are in Paris for Fashion Week. Emily, unbeknownst to Andy, wants revenge against Miranda Priestly because Miranda pushed her to leave Runway. So Emily acts like she's going to help, and she asks her boyfriend, who is Benji Barnes, to begin owner negotiations with Irv's son Jay so that he can now own Runway, which would then make Emily have Miranda Priestly's position. Just before they closed the deal with Jay, and on the day of Runway's fashion show in Paris, Miranda Priestly comes up with a plan and asks Andy to make calls to get a buyer. Andy gets Sasha Barnes, but this is Benji Barnes' ex-wife, to make a better offer to Irv's son Jay, and she acquires ownership of Runway. In order to secure this, Miranda must leave Runway's fashion show before her big speech. In the moment, Andy encourages Miranda to give the opportunity to speak on her behalf to Nigel. We see Nigel is grateful, and he kind of gives a look showing that he seemingly knows that Andy has something to do with this opportunity. After the deal is secured with Sasha Barnes and Jay, order is restored at Runway, with Andy leading the features department with a higher budget, and her intern has also been promoted. At the end of the film, Nigel reveals he was the one who texted Irv and his son about hiring Andy after it made headlines that Andy's entire team had lost their job at her news organization. He winks at her, and to fans' delight, he says, "Forever my girl," solidifying their tough love relationship that we all know and love. And now, as for Emily, she works at Coach and is seeking a friendship with Andy. And Emily working at Coach is what everyone kind of wants to understand. What was the shade there about her working at Coach? So in the film, we see Miranda Priestly when she reveals Emily's plan to kind of take her position at Runway. She tells Emily, "You're not a visionary, you're a vendor." So this is shade because at the end we find out that Emily is now working at Coach. So she went from working at Dior to working at Coach. This is why this is shade. So Dior is a high-level company that is a manufacturer. They manufacture their own products. Coach, on the other hand, outsources their products and is considered a vendor. So you get the full circle shade here. She told her, "You're not a visionary. You don't deserve to be like working at a runway, essentially even working at a Dior per se. You deserve, you don't have that type of creativity. You don't have that type of mindset. You're not that girl, essentially. And you are a vendor." So by having Emily go from Dior to Coach, it's kind of shade like, okay, see, like you're a vendor type thing. So I just wanted to explain that part as well. As for my review of The Devil Wears Prada 2, this was such a great sequel. I'm actually like trying to figure out, initially, I think I actually liked this one better than the first one. Now, granted, I didn't watch the first one when it was released, like during the time it was released. I saw it like just a few months ago for the first time. So I think it may have been a film that was just like super iconic for its time, which I understand. I still thought it was a great and memorable film, the first one. But I just feel like the what they did with the storyline of the second one was just chef's kiss. And as a journalist turned marketing professional who still does journalism by night sometimes, I completely related to Andy's struggles deeply because I've been laid off and I know what it's like to kind of claw for viewership and numbers while you're trying to write about things you're actually passionate about. And in line with that, I thought they did a really great job of integrating technology and nodding to cancel culture in a comedic and thoughtful way, especially as Andy transitioned back into Runway's office. And it was also interesting how they repeatedly delayed the gratification of knowing certain details in the storyline, such as when everyone's phone went off at the award ceremony at the beginning of the film, and what we didn't really know what Miranda asked Andy to do the day of the runway fashion show when Andy was making all of these calls. We didn't really find that out until much later, like in the film. And it definitely kept the viewer invested in the storyline. So I really love how they did that. And even them revealing Nigel's role in getting Andy back in the runway. We never expected that plot twist. And even the shocking part of Irv dying like at his birthday party in the film, it just was a lot of like delayed gratification and unexpected kind of little details in this film. And of course, I can't forget to talk about the fashion in The Devil Wears Prada. Oh my gosh. The girls served looks the entire film. But overall, I loved Amari, who was played by Simone Ashley. I loved her looks. She was a fan favorite. People were excited to even, see her from Bridgerton in this film. And she served, honey. She served. Didn't even say too much with the words, but she was just tea the whole film. Loved it. Emily, I love the Dior outfit she wore with that first meeting with Miranda Priestly and Andy. Killed it. And Miranda Priestley's outfit, she had two that really, really stood out to me that were just kind of like bedazzled or just very eye-catching in the layers and the colors. Like, she ate down, and it was still very modest, but it was just like eye-catching, and I love just like statement pieces. And I feel like Miranda really brought several statement pieces kind of together at once with her look. So I think the only downside of this film for me was the lack of chemistry between Andy and her new love interest. Like, I feel like they just did not, I wasn't buying the romance there. And like, he just didn't have that look to me. He wasn't a bad looking guy, but he just didn't have the look of like, yeah, she gonna be like into this. I don't know. I mean, the guy in the character she was with in the first Devil Wears Prada, he didn't really like, he was a little quirky too, but because they were already in a relationship, I don't know, I feel like it just kind of worked, you know what I mean? Like their chemistry was just there. This one I wasn't really buying the chemistry. Like they had a couple funny moments, but I didn't feel any like romance between them. And I feel like he just was accepting BS. Like she completely insulted your career. You just like, he just had no pushback. So I think their little romantic whatever was the only downside of this movie for me. But with that being said, I'm gonna rate this film a 4.5 out of 5 flames. It was so good, and again, I just really related to the plot. Like after being laid off and just still wanting to pursue journalism, it's definitely a hard gig, and it's something I went to school for. So this film has a just a precious place in my heart. But I also found it very inspirational that, you know, what's meant to be will be, and that there's a way, and just to keep pushing and pulling. So I'm doing that with this. I still write, guys, but I'm trying to get my numbers up first, because numbers are everything. If you watch The Devil Wears Prada 2, you know numbers are everything. We got to get the viewership up. So help a real journalist out. Subscribe so I can get in these rooms that I want to be in and get those interviews like Andy did. So again, like, share, subscribe, and comment if you like this type of content. And I will see you guys next time.